I moved here 9 years ago, almost on this same weekend, from Brantford. So down south. I'm an urban planner, but I don't work for the city or any of the consultants that will walk by. So I can't answer any. I try to answer questions, but I'm not officially, that representative. My town was really small. Brantford was the remnants of an old industrial kind of city. So when I moved to this place, it was kind of appropriate because I was actually trying to get a job in Hamilton, and then when I got a job in Toronto, I was like, no, that's a big city. But then I got here, I'm like, oh, this is the perfect spot because it's not what you think is Toronto when you look it up. When people go, they're like, oh, this is like essentially the nicest street in Brantford that ever existed. So it was very appropriate. So there's a little background story. So the walk is just going to be history of the neighborhood as it is, how it was, and kind of the phases that I've kind of seen through my almost 10 years here, of what I call like little hubs of communities that have either developed or were here and then developed that kind of community. So I'm going to start off. So while we'll be talking about the history of this land for the past couple hundred years, I feel like it must be acknowledged that we're on the traditional territories of many nations, Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. The city generally also acknowledges that the Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. And I thought I'd have to start it like that because this is going to be a whole talk about the land and how it's used and the history throughout it. So even though there's not a whole lot of written history of before the Anglo-Saxons showed up in this area, I started off with that. So that being said, way back in 1793, Sarah Ashbridge, a widower from former Pennsylvania, arrived here with 5 children and their families in total. They were given about 600 acres of land, just really from here to Greenwood. So all of this was essentially that we're walking on was the Ashbridge's land. She got 200, and then because she had 2 sons, they also got 200 each. So it was just free land, here you go, and do with it as you will. The one thing that I kind of found when looking that up was if you've ever wondered why Gerard, goes straight and then just bends for no reason, and there's not a Gerard and then there is a Gerard again, that's because of the Ashbridges. It's actually the Gerard Street actually stopped at Greenwood, and then it was just all their land up to here, and then for some reason Gerard just started as it was. So it was never really, like I thought maybe there was a bend over time, checking out the fire or insurance plans. No, that's just how it was, and they just kept it up all that time for no reason. But that's part of it, so that's kind of fun. Before the Second World War, this part of the Riverdale area was staunchly Anglo-Saxon. So this was a very working class neighborhood. We'll get to why that kind of started when we get to the brickyards, but that's what it was. Everybody came here for a job, and that's how it was. And then I called it, I called it the Little India Tour, and everybody calls it that, but apparently from what my kind of research was, it's kind of a misnomer. And it's funny in that way because it wasn't like, it's not like Little Italy or Little Portugal, how that has the Italians and Portuguese communities, the whatever, and they grew up in that area and the place came. This place was almost branded as it was. There wasn't really a South Asian community that organically grew up and then things happened. The theater, as we'll get to, was the impetus of the whole community becoming a thing. So it was almost a branding thing, but technically it's the Gerard India Bazaar. So there we are. I think that's too long of a title. We just call it the Bazaar. That will probably work. So I call this area, as we start, this is what I call the millennial era of the thing. Almost like the hipster, the gentrified kind of place. It was the part of town that was kind of run down, and cheaper rent, in the early 2000s. So all these kind of places the home hardware and whatnot existed, but then places started showing up. The Cherry's Charbroil was a coffee time, and I think there might be a few left in Toronto or around, but not many. And you could probably do a full walking tour on coffee time and the clientele and what that meant. It's a very working class thing, but it's got its own stories and they're part of it. So that's basically what this part is. This part of town, Little India, was the remnants. There were cheap rents for places. There was a lot of vacancy. As we'll go through, that's a kind of a running thread. There's a lot of vacancies on this street, and we'll see some as we go. And because of that, it was relatively cheap, and people just went, "Oh, this is a great spot to try something and see what happens." Even during COVID, you see kind of things pop up. Birdies showed up during COVID. They were on a food truck. There was an old pizza place that was kind of gone for a few years, and they're like, well, they give it a shot, and they've done well. The Harris Charbroil, as I said, we'll see the diner is in flux, so whatever's going on there. So it's always an area I've found in the past 10 years that a lot of changes have happened, and luckily, if the rents are cheap enough, that's the opportunity that provides. We'll start walking, so we're going to go on the north side of Gerrard, and then just keep walking.
Hey, Eddie getting a haircut, Kurt Affair, and Cynthia. How are you? Evan, good to see you. We're going to start walking here, and I'm not going to talk during this walk because out of respect to the guy doing the walking and talking. But here we are, tour of Little India. Hey, Madonna, how are ya? And a good Saturday morning to you all. Evan's looking for a door dingus. Mike, how are you? Well, there's about 20 people in this one. And Vasily just making a thumbnail. I guess I suggest Vasily is moved on soon.
North, no, west here.
I can see that. No.
Oh, the 7ix right now. With nothing going on today at the shop, I was like, yes, I'm going.
It's not cold.
There's no.
Supper.
I see they got the doors and windows here. Crazy them up. Yeah. I saw the pictures at the art gallery. They were
Yeah, they did it.
And Vasily, are you walking with Henry?
Oh, I think we're going to have a walking tour collision here.
I'm not saying
No one, by the way, it's all like, everyone just does this, so there's no real organization.
Kurt, we're going to look at Desi Burgers, actually. And it looks like we're running into another Jane Jacobs walk here.
Okay, so I've got 3 or 4 major stops and then some smaller ones in between, just to kind of break it up. Not to interrupt the other two who are doing their thing, that's the Glen Rhodes Church. So that was, over there. So in 1906, the area was kind of really booming and growing, and the church as a whole wanted a mission to the area, so they started one. They initially meant in tents around here, but then moved to a small building, and then the church was laid in 1926. The one thing of common that I found throughout all my research was like in the 1920s, all the big buildings were built. The theater, as we'll go to, was the 20s, the church, and a lot of other things. So this area was really, really booming as a place in the 1920s. Right now, the church is still the church, but it acts for weekly food drives. If you ever walk by, there's some people getting some help. It's a marketplace in the winter months, and I recently learned they do Dungeons and Dragons on Friday, which is pretty funny. One other thing that we see along it are a lot of murals. The whole area is a lot of art. This one is done by Al Runt. He's the guy that did the Lee's Palace one most famously. So that's just a point of note. I don't know any of the other artists, but there are many as we walk on through. All right, we're going to stop. Next stop is we're going to stop at Craven Road. So just up here.
Hey, Paul Blunt, how are you? Yes.
That has now been donated back to the city as like a heritage site, but from Danforth.
Here we are approaching Craven Road, our Gerard Indian Bazaar.
Alrighty. Okay, so this is Craven Road. It was originally known as Erie Terrace, and the road provided access to tiny backyard dwellings built around the 1900s, kind of connected to Ashdale Avenue. The interesting thing about this road was that the Ashdale properties were incredibly long. Just a weird geometry thing when they did the subdivision or when they planned it out. So the length of the properties were about 42 meters, which is about 140 feet. Traditionally, like 100 feet maybe is a really nice kind of single attached property length. So 140 was just kind of obscene at that time. What happened was the homeowners didn't really know what to do with the extra land because they're like, oh, so much of it. So they just kind of subdivided their own parts and then building small homes on the rear of the property. This worked well until there was some friction between who actually owned it and rented it and what kind of things were built on there, and the city just kind of got fed up and expropriated all of it and then built up a fence and went, that's it, we're just going to take care of that. So it was around 1910. 1910, the city expropriated the lands that kind of in dispute, and formally created the narrow road, the Craven Road here. So a lot of them are frontages on this side, and then the other side is just a giant municipally maintained fence. So from Queen up to the railway lines, it's a wooden fence that is owned and operated by the city, and that way people put a lot of art on it. There's random stuff. There's an interesting little pocket of COVID memories and things like that. So even the street itself was kind of just like a journey through the mental state of the people that lived around it at that time. So it's pretty wild. That's it. Working class again. Yeah, that was the other thing. So because all the homes were small, again, it just kind of propagated the working class area that this is.
Paul Blunt, how are you? Dixon Sire, good to see you. Yeah, Evan, this is a free tour. One of a dozen different Jane James tours that are happening both today and tomorrow.
Okay, cool. All right, we're going to stop next time just to walk away at the theater. Oh, hello, John.
Hey,
Hey, how are you? I've never met you, but I'm actually
Boom. Yeah. Hey, how are you?
good. Ready to get
Are
a
you?
haircut. Around
He
the corner.
is. Yeah.
I'm actually doing.
Are you doing a live or
stream of a
pre-record?
Jane Jacobs tour of Little India?
Nice. They're doing this all weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie was mentioning he wanted to watch one. That's so funny. Did you see me? And
I just saw you walking the dog.
that's so funny.
Hi, puppy.
Coda, say hi to Boom.
Hello. Oh, what a cute little puppy.
How are you?
Daniel says hello.
Hello, Dana.
I'm good.
Good. Good.
This is quite random.
I walked by one on Church Street the other day. I wasn't sure who was doing it or what it was. And then I talked to Eddie and he knew who it was.
Yeah. Well, Jane Jacobs was a city councilor, did a lot of great work with writing books about communities in Toronto. She was famously tackled by Rob Ford during a city council meeting.
Like physically?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
1910.
Kurt Fair says hello.
Hey,
Vasily
Kurt.
says hello.
Hey, how are you?
Well, you're very popular. Flick Hunter says hello. Epic Ninja.
That's so funny. Hi,
Coda,
everyone.
is that the name of the puppy?
Yeah, Coda.
Well,
Coda's gonna get more hellos than me in a minute.
It's a lighthouse. So
That's so funny. I'll let you guys pass and then I'll continue on my way. But
Sure.
everybody drinks all the time.
do you know what the crowd list is supposed to be?
I don't. I do know we started at Godspeed Brewery,
Okay.
and this is basically the first stop, Craven Road, talking about the longest supported city wooden fence, and now we're going to the Bollywood Theater, which is the reason why Little India exists.
Nice.
All right, we're out.
Boom, it was nice seeing you, meeting you for the first
Nice
time.
meeting
I'll
you.
see you soon, okay?
All right, take care.
Bye, bye, everybody.
This place was the best for just local produce and whatever. And they closed down after 40 years because the kids didn't want to run it anymore. So that's another trend of this area. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was good. For those who didn't want to give money to blah blahs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's get up here. All right, so this was the impetus of me thinking of this kind of tour. My first degree is in film, so whenever I hear that there was a movie theater going around, I always became very interested in that. So that was kind of like, what's the history of this place and what happens? So the building itself was built in 1927. It was part of the B&F chain of cinemas. There are tons of those around Toronto. The Allenby Theatre just up the road was part of that. The Beaches. I think there was one on the other side of Greenwood as well. They're just, it was at the time you have nothing for entertainment other than really just a movie theater. Radio really was kind of coming around. So theaters were everywhere, and that was a big part of Toronto as well. This is a Beaux-Art house style design of a movie theater, although not anymore, as you can see. And it closed to mainstream cinema in 1966. With with television becoming a thing, obviously, these are when the theaters kind of shifted. Now, Jiannaz, he immigrated from India in 1968, benefiting from, at the time, relaxed federal immigration policies for skilled workers and professional. He was an engineer, so he got in and worked at a couple places around here, Air Canada, designed some bridges as well, stuff like this. So was working, but he was really interested in showcasing Indian films. He would screen them in school auditoriums, and they would be really successful as far as that. and he just wanted to try something else. So in 1972, he founded the former Eastwood Theater. The reason he chose this wasn't because, as I kind of stated at the beginning, this was not like a South Asian community. This was because this area was run down and the theater was cheap. And it was vacant, so they had to rent it, so he found a good price and he rented it. He went door to door collecting for funds for the vision of the Indian cinema. He finally raised enough capital to rent out this. It was a 750-seat theater at the time. He secured the rights, 35mm prints, and charged about $3.50 a ticket, which is about $20 today. So just a fair, movie price. It became very popular, and quickly he was earning about $5,000 a month. And by 1974, what was that? Only 2 years? Yes, yeah. Only 2 years later, was able to buy the whole building. So incredibly popular. Mostly because it was the first and only cinema in North America that showed exclusively Indian films. So there was nowhere else to see anything. This was the place.
Kind of neat running into SIP right there. That was kind of cool.
With people even coming from Niagara Falls, Montreal, so like this became a hub. If you want to see,
Evan Tay, there's only one star of the show, and it's not me.
The trip was generally, like a full day excursion. You show up at the theater, and then you try to find something to do, and that's kind of what happened. So that's was really kind of looking forward to a community. And he was like, man, I hope, maybe we get Starry Shop or we get a sort of food restaurant, food place or something like that, that just kind of pop up. And that's what happened. When people would come here, they'd want to go out to get something to eat, but it would want to be something they're familiar with, something in line with the trends, so it just made sense that these places started opening up. I forgot to research it for the Chanda flagship there. They're expanding to Saga? I can't remember. But I just have a feeling they were one of the originals. That's what I read. But it just looks like it's bigger.
Paul Blunt, I don't know what Vile is. Here we are in the Gerard India Bazaar. That's interesting. That the whole reason Little India exists isn't because there were Indians here. It's because some smart guy decided to open up a Bollywood theater, and that caused all these different businesses to show up.
And supporting things like streetlights, festivals, and even some parking. I don't know what they did with the parking. Doing a parking lot? I don't know. There's lots on the street, so I'm not sure what they did there, but it's the style of the time. So this is what happens. There was a lot of really awesome stories of, like the movies themselves being an event that you bring to a family. Everybody's running around, very animated. They have the snack bar that would be a South Asian flair, not just popcorn and things like that. So the theaters itself, yes, it was a whole day event, but then the experience wasn't just sitting and watching; it was an interactive, which is kind of the same as it is now. I wasn't able to see it, but in the theater at least. But apparently the showings for RRR, you can see it on Netflix. The showings in the theaters were insane. Chicken jockey, Minecraft thing going on. This is not new. This is just a thing that some theaters and showings do, where it's confetti and fireworks and a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I'm like, I really want to see something like that.
Minecraft reference, is that when we start shouting chicken jockey?
During the mid-'80s, unfortunately, the popularity of VHS tapes and the also rise of multiplexes kind of really diminished the theater. With a theater having 20 screens, you can obviously just throw in a Bollywood movie, and this place became not as unique. So the Nas family closed the theater and then sold the building in 1985, which really kind of surprised me when I read, because I thought it extended further, but I think it just shows
Come, let me
that
carry
the
you.
impact that this theater had and the draw to the community was so immense that the area was able to kind of flourish even after the closing. There was an attempt to revive the cinema, but that failed shortly afterwards. And then in the early 1990s, it was converted into the India Center, which was a mini mall, kind of department store style thing. Got some. There we go. Just pass that out. So that is something inside with the time. Okay, that's the theater. So, yeah, hugely impactful. As I said, it wasn't the organic, so to speak, for the namesake of a community that was here and then then reflected or worked around that. This was because it was cheap and available. The community came to it, and then the neighborhood grew up around that kind of thing, which is unlike most little places, as they call it. All this renovations happened in the 90s. Sorry, in these. Didn't happen here, but I thought I remember. It was in the early 2000s. It was worn down. The interior was basically just storage. The department store didn't even really work. When it was sold and bought, they converted it into apartments. And the mixed-use thing, taking most of the facade away, really renovating the inside because it was really run down. And now it's the mixed-use residential building as it is. No longer the theater, but its impact has already been laid, so it really didn't have to function as that. It would be awesome to have a theater around here, but that's all we can have a theater everywhere. So there we go. Okay, we're gonna keep on walking. What did you say the name of it was? Yes.
And we're going to keep on walking. And the tour goes on. Pardon me.
I don't know the process of that, but it's supposed to be a 7-story.
One of my favorite restaurants, Lila. Arlene and I came here for dinner once. My understanding, butter chicken was just something where they made it for white people. Make tandoori chicken, add cream, and there you go.
I was thinking this needs to be, they need to get a shout out when I was writing this up, and I lazily called it like the new hub. If you noticed at the theater, the surrounding businesses were kind of established. If you walk in, the owners are, they're getting up there. And I thought, well, this area is very interesting. The one with the red is by far the most popular that I've seen. And it's almost like the new theater. Whenever there's any kind of cultural holiday or religious holiday, this area is crazy. Everybody comes in just like in the theater. They come in from the suburbs of the area that they live in, and they drive down, and this place just goes wild. And it's pretty awesome. It's kind of like what the theater would have been like. So I call this a new hub because the Desi Burger was founded in the 94, and the Lahore Tikka House was founded in 96. But both of them recently, this burger was about 5 years ago during COVID. The parents kind of passed it off.
It's funny because this Desi Burger, this area right here, I ride my bike home at night from work, and this is one of the paths that I take, and this place is packed at 11 o'clock midnight every day of the week when it's really, really hot out. Like June, July, August, this street is packed at night.
That's it. Yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. It's just one of those things. I'm like, this is, the tradition kind of continues. It is also the newer areas. Like, so everybody who kind of owns and works at the buildings, they're relatively new ones. The big one on the corner, I can't remember the name, but it's very good.
That Lahore Tikka House burned down, and this is the new, less burned version.
Place, but all these are relatively new in concept. Whereas the theater brings this, where the family building, I guess, they're going through change. So we'll see how things happen in the near future. But as I said at the beginning, this whole area has always been in flux. There's always some kind of change, and you just have to be patient to see what happens. Okay, then we're at our last stop there in the Greenwood Park. So we're just going to go to Greenwood and then head south to where the
I do, and I love it.
Yeah.
I wish it was easier for you, but
That Allenby Theater, when I was a teenager, was called The Rocks.
The Rocks?
And you go watch the song Remains the Same and buy hash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was an absolute drug den.
Yeah, that was the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just point out a couple quick things here as I remember them. Was that the Roxy?
No.
No. Yeah.
Allenby's.
Yeah.
No, Timmy's.
Yeah. Yeah, they preserve the facade and the lights, which is fine. Yeah, it's better than nothing, I guess. So we go real quick. The motor place was a Beck taxi repair place. So that was kind of the Beck taxi hub for a very long time, and then they sold it, and now it's just a motor repair thing. So it was always interesting that the orange taxis were obviously orange because of the area that it is. It was just on brand. They just made sense, and because they had the land, that's how it was. The tavern here, the Ooster Arms, I've never seen it looking other than this. I've seen a couple photos, and it was interesting and nice. There wasn't a whole lot of history that I could drive up, but interesting nonetheless. And then this, the new Stack Townhouse block thing, that was a coffee time drive-through. So that was, again, I got here 9 years ago. I think it was almost like 10 or 12 that was a thing. It was very popular, but my landlord says that it was rough. So that was the thing. That's the coffee time story. He said even, my landlord was, he's been here 20, 30 years, something like that. And he said even in the early 2010s, that this area was still pretty rough. So that it changed a lot.
Happy Saturday morning, Brad Palmer. How are you?
Since I've been here.
We're on a Jane Jacobs tour of Little India. Jane Jacobs was a Toronto City Councillor who was very popular, wrote many books about city planning, and was famously tackled by Rob Ford during a city council meeting.
Oh yes.
It's another
Everywhere.
Pakistani Indian restaurant.
It's so popular.
Yeah, it's delicious. Super cheap.
I don't know why I never do it. It's just one of those things.
It's open till 5 a.m., but
Yeah,
it opens at 5 p.m.
The Desi Burger, that's open till 4, which I thought was
This
fun.
area is packed in summer. It's like packed.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
about
it's great.
11 o'clock, midnight.
Yeah. I love that families bringing their little kids.
Yep.
So you see like a 5-year-old at midnight.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, that's great.
Yeah, there it is. The horror grill restaurant.
Really, yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge hub just for drivers at night.
Yep.
The Strickland Choice Meats is kind of funny. That's I was going there when I first moved here. The two brothers, two old guys that were running it, and very friendly, really good. It was just fun to have a butcher so close by. And then the one guy got sick, and unfortunately, that I don't know if it was during COVID or whatnot. It became a vegan restaurant, and I just thought it was a funny shift, but that didn't last. And now it's going to be a burger place. And I'm like, back to nature healed on that one, I guess, so to speak. That's one thing actually I'll point out, off topic-ish kind of thing. But during COVID, I was, for the first bit lockdowns, you know how to get your things or what to do. And talking to my parents who lived, in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, and I always had to drive. I thought it was really kind of amazing, and especially using my planner brain, it was amazing that I could get everything I needed within about 15 to 20 minute walk. I had the two butchers on the street. We had the BJ supermarket, the No Frills. There's a cheese shop. There's a lot of local things. There was 3 breweries within walking distance, which is crazy. So everything that you could have wanted, and my doctor was questioning me about, was all there. So it was just one of those little prods that I'm like, oh yes, this is how a community in a neighborhood should work. And when it did in its moment of crisis, it worked out well, at least for me, because everything was around. And you got a backpack, you just fill it up every few days, and off you go. All right, so back on topic here. So this is the Greenwood Park. Now, this was the Brickyards, Greenwood Brickyards. So, not per se the impetus of, all the Brickyards, but because it's the one that we can stand near, this is why it's here. So, from the 1860s to the 1920s, Greenwood Avenue was a major hub for brick production, rivaling that of the Don Valley Brickyards, brickworks, sorry. The area supported at least 10 brickyards, producing hundreds of thousands of bricks annually and employing hundreds. So yes, there's this one right on the just a few blocks north. Can't remember the street, but near Wagstaff and whatnot. There was another brickyard. There's another one up there, and another one up there, and another one there. They were just everywhere. So the soil was just perfect. Conditions were right to make bricks. Bricks were needed. So this whole area was just factories, brickyards, and people living and working in their area. It was originally called Greenwood's Lane, and it was named after Mr. Greenwood, a hotel owner and wagon painter. I couldn't figure out, and there was no definitive answer to where he owned his hotel, but it was the prominent kind of place of the area. It served as the social center. It's got to be some. Every kind of indication was at this corner. Just not sure where. Not sure if the building still remains. I doubt it. Just because if it sounded like a hotel, it would have been 4 stories. There is one on Redwood that is a 4-story that does look like it was a hotel. I don't know if that was it. It doesn't really make sense because if it's going to be in the corner, that would be logical. But so be it. So the east side of Greenwood Ave, yes, there we go. Had the John Price Brickmaker, the Morley and Ashbridge Brick Manufacturers, the Ashbridge's Brick, and the west side had the John Price, the Joseph Russell, the Wagstaff, the Isaac Price, and the Taylor and Logan, and they just all did their crazy jobs of getting the bricks out to everybody. Not anywhere really close by, but on some of the side streets, if the asphalt's kind of peeled up a bit, you can see that some of the roads are still bricks underneath. So a lot of the time, because they just had so much, you could see this at the Riverdale Farm. There's that one street that's all brick. That's a lot of what it was. You just had so much, so you might as well throw it on the ground and use it as something to walk on. So yes, this place was a brickyard before World War I, because that area kind of ended. Everything was kind of built around it. The community flourished, and then things moved on to something else. Just it didn't need as many bricks. So before World War I, this area became a motor dome with car races drawing around 2,000 spectators. So because it was already kind of like this.
We just passed my favorite restaurant. I actually went there with Henry on one of his live streams. Lahore Pakistani Indian restaurant. It only opens at 5 p.m. and closes at 5 a.m. And that's where the cab drivers eat. And you know you're eating good food when that's where the cabbies are.
A lot of stories about drinking and who knows what else is going on around here. But that's just how it was. I'm sure that's why the church really wanted to get in. You got to get in there. Something's going on.
When was that?
That was, I said, before World War One. So I'm not sure the exact date, but yeah. Probably just had so much money, and that's how you gotta spend it on something. Obviously, this later transformed into what it is now. Right now, we're getting a lot of. During the winter, there's the skating, there's the infinity thing, there's the hockey rink. During the summer, it's all. You get the toboggan slides. During the summer, we've got the ball pits, the ballparks. They play football and soccer and whatnot in the field. The splash pads work, the pool works. There's a little statue of a boy dressed as Superman, and the dog park's there. So it's a huge, just area to come to, and the farmers market goes there too. So it's interesting how things change over time. It's interesting how what place used to be a place where you race your cars and drink too much and lose all your money became. Well, you still do that at the farmers market; they're expensive. But the hub's strange, and that was the whole point of this. Is every little place has a story, and every little place has an impetus, and to see, at least in my mind, the shifts throughout the last 100 years, throughout just this one stretch of Toronto was pretty wild to me, and to see how the old goes with the new brings up something different. It's none of it's planned. It was always an organic kind of thing. As the theater started, his idea was I'm not moving here because there's a lot of South Asian community members. It's I came here because it's cheap, and the South Asian community came to me. There were some pushback against on that, of course, because racism exists. But they dealt with that just normally by continue on existing and doing their thing. And now it is as it is. I don't know where the future of the bazaar, as I just called it, is going to go because of that. Because it changes, we don't know what the next trend is going to be. We have no idea what the Southern guy's doing and how it would affect us. But I love that I was able to move here, about 10 years ago, and experience my own struggles and how I dealt with it for the COVID stuff or whatever, but also experiences how a neighborhood can flourish and change over time. And it just does that by, existing. And that's it. That's my talk. All right, so thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for showing up. And there's a lot more James Walks going on today and tomorrow. It was the biggest of all time. They have 150 in total. We bumped into one, which I've never literally done on any James Walk before. That was hilarious. So if you are free for the weekend, take a walk and learn something. There you are. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, that was cool. Yeah, so there are dozens of these James Walks. Look it up. Use your Google machine. I found this one listed in the Beach Metro, which is the local newspaper here in the beaches, but I did not see it listed on the Jane Jacobs website. So you have to do some extra searching to find all the walks.
Soil is not maintained.
And Vasily is going live in about 10 minutes, I believe. Vasily, please drop the link. I'm sure everybody in this chat knows who Vasily is and how to find his channel, but hey, go ahead and do it anyway. And I'm going to end in just a couple of minutes. And this is my coffee, which lasted the whole hour. And which is now done. And I thank you for hanging out with me during this Jane Jacobs tour of Little India. And I will see you in the ether. Here it is. All right, Vasily's going live in about 10 minutes. I believe he's walking with Henry. Henry's got a big day planned. And here's Greenwood Park, where you see all kinds of baseball, softball, farmers markets, dog parks, hockey rinks, public gardens. And thanks for coming out. I'll see you in the ether.